Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Built Like This podcast. I'm your host, Maxine. We're on episode 360. Yes, same background. Yes, you know where I'm at. let's just move on. Shout out to my new hairdo. My new hairdo. I love it. One thing I love about these hairstyles is my hair being moisturized, put into a protective style, and I feel good about it. This is all my hair. I love my hair. It's looking good. I'm loving it. Anyway, let's get into these topics. First of all, I hope you all are doing well. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to leave a review, like, share, and subscribe to this podcast. Let's get into our first topic for today's episode. Yes, who do we see here? Big Mike. Who do we see next to Obama? Big Mike. Let me stop before I get canceled. Okay. So there's been a lot of rumor going around, lots of rumors going around regarding the state of their marriage and whether or not they're on the brink of divorce. Um Now this is sparked because of the absences Michelle Obama has made quite frequently in recent events. She was absent from Trump's inaugural um, Trump's inauguration. She was absent from Jimmy Carter's funeral. She was absent from attending a basketball game with Obama. Instead, Obama went with his boy. Now, one could say, what's the big deal? Married people don't have to be together all the time. But considering that they are public figures and former first and, you know, the first couple, it does spark a bit suspicion regarding whether they're gonna stay married or not. Barack Obama decided to share a quote with us and say his marriage or his relationship, however he worded it, but he said verbatim, it is in a deep deficit. Yes. He says he is in a deep deficit with Michelle Obama. Now, I feel like his word choice is particular here because he doesn't want to outright say we're in troubled waters or we're going through a hard time right now. Instead, he uses language that is similar to going through a financial difficulty, right? You know, when you say a deficit, you talk about lack, you talk about being on overdrafts with your accounts. You talk about things that you are um in need of financially or assets, right? You don't talk about it in regards of your marriage. But he particularly used this language, and I think it's for that reason. I think he's trying to tell us without telling us directly. So he says here verbatim, I'm just going to read the quotes from this article from Daily Beast. Barack Obama has revealed he's been working hard to make up to Michelle after 2 terms at the White House took a toll on their marriage. So he's saying here that his 8 years as president of the United States, it has taken a toll. It has ruptured his marriage to a point where he describes it as, quote, I was in a deep deficit with my wife. Now he says was. He says was here. So either he's trying to tell us, hey, yeah, we went through a hard time, but we're stronger than ever. Or he's telling us that this is still a thing now without telling us directly. So he says, yes, verbatim, I was in a deep deficit with my wife. Obama admitted in a conversation with Hamilton College President Stephen Tepper. And he says verbatim, "So I have been trying to dig myself out of that hole by doing occasionally fun things." So this confirms that this is what they're struggling with currently. They are struggling to get out of a hole, out of a deficit, right? So he's saying words again. This language is very is interesting because you don't use this language to describe a relationship. You don't use deficit. I mean, sometimes you do use hole. Oh, you dig yourself in a hole, but after using deficit and you use hole, it still aligns yourself in the ballpark of financial circumstances. So he's trying to dig himself out of a hole with Michelle, trying to have more date nights, trying to be more fun, how he says it. And I don't know what fun looks like to a former first couple. He says verbatim, "Let me just say this. It sure helps to be out of the White House and to have a little more time with her." Now, here's the thing. As a women, sometimes we have a tendency of nagging. And I could definitely attest to that. I am totally aware of how I sometimes do that. Not all the time. I've been mature Maxine, but at times it could be a little nagging. Definitely in my past relationships for sure. But nonetheless, that's in our nature. And when I think about how strenuous his job and his role as president for 8 years must have been and how it impacted his family, I'm sure that was I'm sure it's real. I don't want to deny the impact or the struggle that they experience. But what I do want to point out is, where do we give grace? You know, where do we give grace? He was the first black president. I mean, if you want to say Abraham Lincoln or even Bill. I know that's that whole argument. Well, he was the first nigga in the White House. I get it, but he was the first outwardly. Obama was the first outwardly black president of the United States. So let's just give him that. For him to not receive the grace that I feel like he should from his wife, that's come on. You don't hear Bill Clinton, or at least at the time I didn't. I never heard him say, "Oh, I'm trying to get myself out of a hole with Hillary." Huh? Hillary was quiet and she was in the background until much later she didn't reveal too much necessarily, but she had her Hulu documentary. I remember watching that. Was it on Hulu? All in all, I feel like this is just ridiculous. How are you mad at me for being president? Huh? How are you mad at me for leading the free world? It's just come on. If there's any time for grace to be given, it's now. I really think it's now. But anyway, I think I don't know. Michelle gives me the impression that she would hold feet to fire. Like she is not someone who um kind of lets things go or um put them under the rug per se. So I I I just feel like she could give him a little bit more grace and not make this a big deal. Even though obviously he's the one who's speaking out about it. I know Michelle Obama, she has a new podcast out with her brother. And this podcast has apparently not been getting um enough views considering she is the former first lady. So just in that context, I think generally the numbers look great, better than mine, right? Shit, as of now, but better than mine. Um, but I just feel like ultimately, I don't. He never embarrassed you, not once. Throughout their relationship, he never embarrassed her. Throughout their relationship, he never just, he didn't have a baby on her. He didn't cheat on her. He didn't talk shit about her. No, not at all. And from what I remember, throughout her time in media, ever since she came out with her books, she talked about how they first started and how he was a brokey, how she saw potential in him. She was a lawyer and he was a clerk. And I guess in the hierarchy of law and working in law, that's at the bottom of the totem pole. So ultimately, they struggled. They struggled in their marriage. They struggled early on. And she also talked, like, she's been very vocal. She talked about how for 7 years in their marriage, she did not like him. She did not like him. She didn't like that while she was rearing their children, he was out golfing and this and that and this and that. But not once do you hear Obama being the one to start that conversation and say, hey, I didn't like her at some points. I didn't like how she spoke to me in some ways. Like, he doesn't really say much. But I guess someone's argument could be, well, of course, because she's the better partner. I don't know. I just think sometimes we look at things with such surface level. Oh, because she had a law degree or she was in a higher professional position than him, that means she's better than him. I don't think people should look at things like that. Nonetheless, they are in a deficit and we'll see what could happen. There's also a rumor that Jennifer Aniston was in a relationship with him, and this just came out of left field because first of all, how did Jennifer get in it? How did Jennifer get in it? And I remember watching this YouTube video of this woman breaking that down. Jennifer Aniston was asked this question directly in a late night talk show, and Jennifer's laughing and she's shaking. No, she's like nodding her head, but she's saying no. You know how hard it is to nod your head and say no, like you, because you're so conditioned to shake your head when you say no, right? And vice versa. And this person in the video who's breaking this down, she was looking at the body language and making the argument that people tell you exactly what it is. You just have to pay attention. So who knows? Who knows if Jennifer Aniston and Barack Obama had something going on, and that speaks to the deep deficits of Michelle and Barack's marriage. But they are, as of now, still married. And we'll see how things goes. We'll see how things goes. Let's move forward. Okay. Okay. Love wins. Let me just make this bigger. Love wins. And I would scream right now, but again, home. Love wins. What are we looking at here? Y'all know who these people are? Kevin Gates, whose music apparently is very intoxicating, is the word that comes to mind. Because his fan base, they're hypnotized by him. It's actually quite alarming. And this is Brittany Renner. Brittany Renner, who is known for being a slore. Remember that term back in the day? I remember growing up, if you were called a slore, oh, that's a big deal. That's slut and whore together. That's a big deal. Anyway, I'm not calling her that, but that's just the term. So she is interviewing Derek, what's his name? Kevin Gates. I'm gonna say Derek Gates. Kevin Gates. This is like back a few years ago, not too long ago, probably four years ago. And This is at the Rolling Loud Festival. In this video here, I'm going to play a few clips actually. But here she is just adoring him, sharing how much she loves his music and who he is. Like she just, but you feel a energy between them. You feel a sense of you feel strong chemistry. This is chemistry right here, y'all. And yes, he is technically a married man. And you know the funny part here? The funny part here is so y'all know, I don't know if I told y'all, but I watch a lot of different entertainment videos here on YouTube because I like to be entertained. So even if the entertainers that I watch are beefing with each other, I'm watching both entertainments. Entertainments, yes. I'm watching it because I are you not entertained? And sometimes I do pick sides, but I don't let it like control my life too much because I can't lie. At some point, it does. Like, so, if you're feeling too passionate about someone or their reaction to something, that means there's a sense of control that they have over you. So I'm not even gonna lie and say that it doesn't control me in some ways, but nonetheless, I watch Tasha K. I frequent her videos. I am a subscriber to her platform, and what she consistently says on her platform is her disdain, to say the least, of side chicks, of anyone, of any woman getting in the middle or in the way of a marriage between another couple. And yet, when she covers this story, or when she covered this story in a previous episode of her show, she actually is praising and supporting this union. And I was really taken aback because the way that she goes so in on side chicks, the other women and woman, whomever, she goes so in that you think, dang, bitch, is there a side woman in your marriage? Is it like, what's going on? She goes so in. So it makes me feel like it's definitely personal. And she's also shared before how she cheated, her husband cheated. Like this was earlier on in their marriage. So it's like, does that really count? Does it really count? Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. But the point is, she talks about it so passionately. It's as if she's trying to prove to herself that it doesn't matter, or prove to herself because she very much her personality is I'm a wife, and side chicks, oh, he's never gonna leave his wife for you, he's never gonna leave his wife for you. Like she speaks in that hierarchy type of tone, and I think that comes from a level of insecurity. I think if you're a wife, okay, okay, I'm a wife. It reminds me of Yandy. I'm look at what was that video of Love and Hip Hop when she was walking around? She was like, I'm all in all, this bitch, they're still not legally married. So if we want to be specific or technical, you're not a wife legally. If you want to go on the spiritual route, sure, I'll give you that. I don't necessarily disagree. I think you could be married spiritually, but as far as legally, and she's like doing all this, all that, that's not it. Anyway, Tasha K talks about it so passionately. She is so opposed to men happening to fall in love with a woman outside of his marriage and it being a genuine type of love. Like she kind of dismisses it. I'm a little biased, huh? Anyway, the point is, I expected Tasha K to react very differently to this news of Kevin Gates and Brittany Renner in a relationship. Brittany is actually just along with the ride, along with him, and showing up to interviews with Kevin Gates, this married man. So I'm gonna just kind of scoot over because I really don't care about this part of the interview, not interview, of this clip, because this woman right here, as you're seeing, make sure you are following me on YouTube, subscribed, and you're seeing what I am showing. So here we see this woman here talking about how Kevin Gates played her. Apparently, she was another woman that he was messing with. But we're gonna jump into this relationship here. This is one video clip between Kevin Gates and Brittany Renner. And we know Brittany Renner right now is going through, I'm saying going through, she's going through a phase. She's going through a little Muslim phase. She's going through a little Muslim phase. But you know what? Oftentimes, and we don't talk about this. Let me pause because I get distracted when a video is playing. We don't talk about this enough. We don't talk about how women will convert to a religion, to a mindset, to an ideology, primarily because of a man. Primarily because of a man. Or they're going through a hard time spiritually, emotionally, and financially, right? If they're really down and out and, you know, they were violated and all they have left is God, then that's when they turn to God. But if it's not anything dramatic like that, they have converted because of a man, because of the influence of a man. Why am I bringing this up? What's her name? Brittany Renner is a Muslim now. Shout out to Tupac with that song. Are you a Muslim now? No more dope gang. I heard you might be coming home, just got bail. Wanna go to the mosque, don't wanna chase tail. I used to love that song. Let me just show y'all a picture of how she used to look to how she looks now. Okay. This is Brittany Renner, the one who we have known for quite some time, the one who we have grown to love. Let me make this screen a little bit bigger. This is the Brittany Renner that we are familiar with, y'all. Okay, this is Brittany Renner. Oops, I didn't share it. Let me share it right here. This is who I'm talking about as far as the aesthetic that she presented throughout her career. What is she known for? Yes, she is apparently, because I didn't learn about this until later. She's an athlete. Well, she's no longer an athlete, but she has had a career as an athlete. I don't know necessarily like professionally, not to say it's not professional, but I think more on the college level. And I want to say it's either track or soccer. I think it's soccer. So she already had a great looking body, very athletic, well built, and she merged into this groupie lifestyle. That's really what it is. She would hunt for men who are just coming up into their riches and are naive. She has a baby with a guy who is very young. He's of age, but there's a huge gap between them. And she has a baby by him after he just signed a multi-million-dollar deal with the NBA. So she's the type of woman who is on a prowl. She hunts for opportunities to make bank and secure bank. That's who she is. Now, today, and in the last, I think it's the last year, since last year, this is the Brittany Renner we are seeing now. This is the Brittany Renner, okay? Muslim, covering, no booty out, no skin showing, none of that. She also would post examples of her lifestyle change on her social media. She has been very vocal and open to this different way of living. And okay, some people are accepting it as an actual change or turn of events. Okay, so she is someone who you wouldn't expect to now look like this. And if it's a genuine change, if it's a genuine way that she is trying to live her life, okay, then so be it. That's fine, whatever. But I just feel like it's a little disingenuous. I do. Because what? Again, not to say that you can't convert into a different religion and change your life around. It's also just to say she comes across very clout chasey. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. She is in love with Kevin Gates. She has valued him for quite some time and has made that known. Kevin Gates, he lives a lifestyle where low key is Muslim. I don't know if he said it verbatim, nor does he dresses as such, but he comes across as, if y'all know what I mean, you know, a Muslim, a black Muslim to be particular, a black Muslim man when you see one. There's a distinction with them. So here we see them in the car riding together. He's riding with her. We have yet to see him with his wife. What's her name? Something Gates. She still has his last name. She's a mother of his only 2 kids, and they're not, yeah, like they don't live a life together. I know her. I think she is more independent now. She has her own business. She's very big on cannabis. Draka, that's her name, Draka Gates. Anyway, so we see here in this clip. Oh, I gotta pause it. The background music. But yeah, they're riding together. Let's get to the next clip. Is there another one? Okay, but there are clips of them together, living, being, breathing, all of that. And it's just their relationship out in the open. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I don't think it's a issue. You know, if they are in a relationship and he's Muslim and now Brittany Renner's Muslim, okay, it tracks. It tracks. But there we go. There we go. I think, you know, with him, Kevin Gates, and the way that Brittany Renner is, the way that she comes across, at least I don't know her personally, she comes across where she likes to be led. She likes to be led. She likes to she likes for a real nigga to tell her what's up. And I fucks with that. Let a real nigga tell me what's up. Okay, let me play this Rolling Loud video. Okay. Oh, I actually think I have the clip that I saved. I forgot I saved it. Let me go ahead and pull that up for y'all. Because yes, she's in love with this man. And I see it. I understand.
Excited right now. Hi everyone, it's Brittany Renner. Rolling Loud Miami. What's good? Oh, Kevin Gates right now performing behind me. I almost got teary-eyed. My first Rolling Loud was Rolling Loud Miami 2019. He was the only artist I wanted to see. So seeing him 3 years later, I'm so excited. I'm so happy. It's like a full circle moment. So Rolling Loud was good.
Because first of all, why you hugging her like that? It's a chemistry, and I don't know if they met. I don't know if they met prior to this moment. I don't know, but the way that they embraced each other here, it's like it's magnetic. They're drawn to each other. It's a beautiful thing. Hey, I love it.
Hi. Wow.
Looks like he want to eat her up. Hello?
Hi everyone. My name is Brittany Renner, and I'm here with the one and only Kevin Gates. How you feeling?
Amazing. Hey, thank you. Hey, this. I don't care if you get this on camera. I just want to say thank you for being an amazing person, always living in your truth. You inspire others silently. They probably don't want to admit it, but you inspire me. Thank you so much.
And thank you. Let me tell you something. So my first Rolling Loud I did in 2019 is when I first saw you.
Yeah.
And you were actually, Will and I worked together, and you were the only person that I wanted to see the entire festival. And today in 2022, it still rings true. You're the only person I wanted to see.
Did you like what you saw?
I actually loved it. I actually love what I'm.
Not did you like what you saw? Yes. Yes, and I want you to think in my mouth. Yes. That's what she wanted to say. That's what she wanted to say.
Seeing now.
Lord.
Yeah.
Yes, Lord.
So, what song off of Kaza do you feel like appeals to the people the most? Like people, it resonates with the most.
Which people? The real people?
The real people.
I say Scars. I say Scars in One Day, and I'm in love. Like the things that money can't buy, intangible wealth. Like the real people, the people that don't give a fuck about cars, clothes. Like the people that deal with their emotions every day. Like those people. So.
Yeah. So how did you feel tonight performing at Rolling Loud? You're back.
Okay. So all in all, and Kevin Gates, he's very in tune with his emotions, with his instincts, with his senses, all of these things. He's very in tuned. And it's attractive. It is attractive. It's very like it's not even attractive is even is it's insufficient. It's more than attractive. It's alluring. Like you are hypnotized, I would say. You are hypnotized. You're like, I think he has that presence about himself. And I think it's because when you do a lot of internal work, when you are comfortable in who you are, there is something so magnetic about that. You attract those who either want to be like that or is already like that. And there's something here. There's something here between them. I remember stories of Kevin Gates because I'm familiar with things that he said in different interviews. I'm not too familiar with his music necessarily, but again, I'm aware that he has a large fan base. I remember he would talk about how he was almost going to off himself, if you know what I mean. He was almost going to off himself. And this was before he went on this journey of doing this inner work because he used to be heavier in size. He used to eat poorly. He said he's now a vegan, I believe, and he's just completely changed his life around. But before then, he was just in a dark space and was contemplating, not even contemplating, he was planning out, he was about to go ahead and do so. And he was going about his runs for the day, like, you gotta get these errands done before I kill myself. Like, what? But he literally explained it as such. And when he went to the gym, someone at the gym spoke to him and said, "Hey, I just want to let you know I'm a big fan. You really came into my life when I was down and out. I was going through suicidal thoughts, and you really made me believe that I have another, like, I deserve to live, right?" And that spoke to him. That literally changed his life at that moment, and that averted his decision to off himself. So this is the Kevin Gates we're talking about. Kevin Gates is not someone who just willy-nilly, at least not anymore. This could have been before he changed his life around, but he is someone right now who is very intentional, very sensual. He talks about how he loves pleasing his woman, who whichever one, right? But he talks about it not in like a nasty necessarily or freaky way. But there was a video of him spitting in a girl's mouth. Well, during a performance, you got to perform for the people. But all in all, I say all that to say Kevin Gates is just, I get it. I get it. Not to say I would be necessarily interested. Obviously, no. But the point is, I understand. And when I see chemistry like this, I don't give a damn if he's legally married. I am here to support love. And love looks different for everyone. I don't think we have to, again, subscribe to the same type of love in romantic relationships, right? You may find love in two different people at the same time. I don't think it's an issue. So, hey, God bless. God bless. Let's move on. Kenya Moore hair care. Kenya Moore hair care. First of all, Kenya Moore, goodbye. Hello. Kenya Moore, goodbye. Kenya Moore has been a terrorist since she's been on Real Housewives of Atlanta. A terrorist. And the irony here is you have a newbie. Her name is Britt. Okay, Britt Edie, I believe, but her name is Brittany, but she goes by Britt. She's newbie on the show. She just started this season. This season has been on for 5 weeks now. Pretty good. I'm loving it. I'm loving Shamia. Shamia is the standout star. I know Portia was positioned as the main girl and the one who brings everyone together. Like she's the glue for everyone because she's the OG, one of the OGs of the show. But Shamia is that girl. Shamia is really doing it, and she's really standing out. And I'm loving Shamia. I really am. So shout out to Shamia or Shamina. It's like, anyway, what was I gonna say? Anyway, Kenya Moore is a terrorist. That's what I was gonna say. And this newbie here, she ironically did say some terroristic threats. If you want to be clear, when you threaten someone with a pew pew, if you know what I mean, that is considered a terroristic threat. You could have a claim against her. But I'm not even going to give her any credence for that because people talk shit that's what it is. It's talking shit. People talk shit. It's not about, oh, I'm really scared for my life. You think you think this girl's gonna shoot you down with her pistol like she's talking about? I don't think it's that deep. What I think Britt could work on is reading. Not in a sense of knowing how to read an ABCD. No, knowing how to read someone down. She needs to learn how to read because the way that she responded to Kenya Moore after Kenya Moore said to her, "Oh, I'm a queen. A queen doesn't speak to peasants or peasants." Britt could have reacted in a way that was on that level. She could have been calm, like, "Bitch, where's the queen?" Or something light. But to get so offended and then say, "I'll take out my pistol right now," like, I'm sorry. I don't think it's that deep. And I know like the new thing people like to say, "Oh, you can't disrespect me and then police how I want to disrespect you back," right? You can't like the way I respond to disrespect is my right. There's a left. Like, come on. We got to be in the same ballpark. We got to be in the same ballpark. So, I'm here to say, yes, Britt is wrong for saying direct. I was going to say insinuating, but no, saying directly that she was going to get her pistol. Now, she didn't say necessarily to kill you, right? She didn't say that. You could obviously make that assumption. What does one do with a pistol? Unless you want a pistol whip me. She did say whips. She said, I can get my whip, my chain, my pistol. I don't know why she said all those things. But all in all, I don't buy it as something to be afraid of. Like, ma'am, this is what you're so afraid of. So in the next episode, in the last episode, the latest episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta, we see Kenya Moore. She is revealing or having her opening day for her spa. Her spa, I think it's a hair salon, but it's also a spa. So it's like a whatever in Atlanta, Georgia. And Britt is on her way there to give an olive branch, to apologize, to make amends. And I really believe Britt was genuine and authentic with her remorse for her actions. Absolutely. Not once did she deny, not once did she try to dismiss it like it's not a big deal. I think she really meant it. Now people could say, "Oh, well, she was about it then." Okay, people be about it, and then they can look back and be like, "Damn, I was fucked up. I should never said that." Like, cut it out. Some of y'all are Kenya Moore stans, and I don't get it. Kenya Moore is a terrorist. I don't care how articulate and universally beautiful she is. She's a terrorist, and it's because of her mother's abandonment. That is why Kenya Moore is a terrorist. And there's nothing more, nothing less than that. Kenya Moore is this way because she has yet to resolve that trauma. I know there was an earlier episode and earlier in one of the earlier seasons when Kenya Moore, she went to the house of her mother, and her mother literally denies her existence, doesn't recognize her. Like her mother just, I don't know if it's a mental illness, I don't know what it is, but I think she had her when she was young and regrets her, and sees maybe she looks at her and sees, "Oh, you stopped my life." And you know how some mothers are, like they have this resentment towards their daughters. I don't know. I don't know exactly what it could be, but we've never seen Kenya Moore go to therapy on the show. At least we don't see her talk about it, and we definitely don't see her film any sessions of her in therapy. We don't see her break it down. We don't see her saying, "I'm still hurt." She'll like she talk about the context of it all. That's why we know this information, but we don't see her working through that trauma. And yes, she is in her 40s now. I think she's even early 50s, maybe at this point. But Kenya Moore, you could still be so traumatized and so paralyzed by something that happened in your childhood, the denial of your existence by your mother, that regardless of how much older you are today, it is still impacting you in such a negative way. And because Kenya Moore has yet to resolve that trauma, this is what we get: a terrorist in her adult years. And you would think at some point I thought, oh, Kenya Moore, she's now a mother, she has a daughter. And when she was married, well, she still is technically married, but I thought, when she was earlier on in her marriage, wow, there's a new leaf. Like she's softening up and she's being kind. No, she's damaged goods. And it's so sad to say stuff like that, damaged goods, but that's what she is. Absolutely damaged goods. Kenya Moore decided to share during her opening day at her grand opening location, at her spa hair salon. She decided to share pictures of this woman, pictures that are revenge, okay? Fill in the blank. She blew up poster-sized pictures of Brits sucking genitals. She decided to post this up and say it as necessary or plausible or or just like warranted. Like, oh, well, she threatened my life, so that's why I'm gonna antagonize her. And some of y'all are on here giving reviews about this saying, well, we can't dictate how someone responds to disrespect. Y'all cut it out. Revenge porn is never okay. I don't give a damn. Terroristic, you think this girl's gonna really shoot her up? Cut it out. Y'all bugging. It's ridiculous. Some of y'all are stands for Kenya Moore, and I don't get it. But Kenya Moore was totally wrong. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm glad she didn't get a confession. She did not get a confessional throughout this season or the 5 episodes she's been on. I'm glad that she got suspended after this. And she claims that she walked away from the show. I doubt it. I think she was probably put in a corner. That's what I think it was. I think she was put in a corner. Either you apologize to her on camera or you got to leave the show. And Kenya Moore decided to leave the show. That's what it was. But I don't think it was, oh, I'm gonna leave. No, no, period. Your daughter, your 4-year-old daughter, needed to see mommy blow up pictures of another woman sucking someone off. Cut it out. Kenya Moore, goodbye. So again, Kenya decided to use this moment and slut shame, revenge porn shame, all of that towards this woman right here. Why? Because Kenya is damaged goods. As beautiful as Kenya is on the outside, as well put together as she is on the outside, she is a hot, stinking, dirty dog mess. My apologies to dogs. Like Kenya is seriously, she's no good. And I honestly I feel bad for her child. I can't imagine. I guess I can, but what I'm thinking about is how her daughter is probably raised by her. And maybe Kenya is totally different with her, but I have yet to see a loving side to Kenya, a motherly, nurturing side to her. She comes off fake. I remember watching an interview with Kenya and her daughter. They were being interviewed for a book that her daughter wrote. Really, Kenya wrote, but I'm sure her daughter influenced it greatly. And the daughter, I think she's still young. She's like, I think she's no more than 6. She's talking like a baby. Like she's talking, yeah, I don't know. Like she's doing that. She's clearly nervous and shy. I guess she wasn't media trained yet. She's still young. But Kenya was getting annoyed. Kenya was like, stop talking like a baby. Stop talking like a baby. Now, on one end, I'm kind of like team her in that moment because why is her kid talking like that? And you could tell Kenya was annoyed, right? Like you're kind of messing up this vibe here. Cut it out. Talk regular. But ultimately, I think Kenya didn't. She sounded more annoyed and just pissed off and maybe embarrassed even that her daughter wasn't behaving the way that we trained her to behave. Like, come on, get it together. Like, she came across like a pageant mom. She came across like a pageant mom, which is actually very fitting since Kenya Moore won pageants, right? Before winning, was it Miss Universe or Miss USA, whichever one it was. She, of course, did the preliminary pageants and won those in order to get as far as she did. So anyway, I just feel like Kenya Moore, sorry to that woman, but I definitely believe she deserved to get suspended and ultimately fired or let go, however they want to phrase it. Even though Kenya's acting like it was to her own accord and she walked away. No, bitch, you wanted to be in the show. That's why you went on this crying tour talking about being a victim. Yet there were moments, I want to play a clip of Kenya talking about her suspension and how this, of course, just like messed her up or whatever. I want to talk about that with y'all. So let me go ahead and pull that up for you guys and we'll break this down. This was when she was on the Tamron Hall show and she decided to give an apology, but it wasn't full accountability as it could have been. Okay, we're gonna just.
And today, in a daytime exclusive, Kenya is here to finally. I don't know if you could ever clear air, right? But you have, and you know what's happened to you. And she is ready to talk about, from her point of view, of being removed from the show and what her next chapter looks like. Take a look.
You're not going to shade me at my own event. Exactly who are you and why are you talking to me?
Over 11 successful seasons as a lead star on the to here, Kenya was abruptly and indefinitely suspended during filming pending an investigation by Bravo. The reality star allegedly displayed sexually explicit photos of new cast member Brittany Eady during the grand opening of her new Kenya Moore hair spa. The scandal went viral and sparked headlines in LA Times, USA Today, and Deadline, referring to allegations of revenge porn. Kenya quickly responded to the allegations on social media, saying, quote, so many false claims hiding behind anonymous sources. All this conversation.
See, and that's the problem right there. What do you mean false claims? You printed poster size pictures of Brittany Eady, this newbie housewife, of her sulking dick, and you waved it around for all to see, not only on the show, but at your grand opening of this damn salon. You've been saying you've been building and doing it on behalf of your daughter, or for the legacy, for your daughter to reap the benefits of. See, this right here is just an example of her not taking accountability and blaming others.
And no facts being reported. If a claim or source was valid, would they need to hide?
You will be seeing me. I'm not going anywhere.
Kenya has said that the fallout was devastating to everything she spent her life building. She may be out on the show that brought her some fame, but Kenya's career is far from over. She's working on a new project with her beautiful daughter, Brooklyn. Brooklyn is here as well. Before she comes out, though, we have to have an adult conversation. So let's bring out, in a daytime exclusive, Kenya Moore. To win Miss Universe.
Yes.
And so
Miss USA.
Miss USA, I apologize, live TV, and I'm just winging it.
See, everyone gets that wrong. Miss Universe, Miss USA. Which one is it?
I get it right, but nevertheless, you're a historic figure. The show didn't make you famous. Mm-hmm. It added to you and your brand.
Definitely.
Long.
Kenya was fired. She was fired. She was let go. All of those things, and they were not true.
What is true?
What is true is that, where do you want me to start?
Well, are you a part of the show?
I am still under contract, and I am still an employee of the network.
So you still receive checks from the show?
I still do.
Wow.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So,
okay.
Period. Yeah.
So, I want to tell you, because we're going to be honest.
Yeah, you have to be honest.
I called you.
Yes.
I called you and I said, what is going on?
Yes.
I'm not going to pretend that this is someone that I am not friendly with. But I don't know. I'm not playing dumb right now. You know that. I called to check on you. I didn't call to get the scoop.
Yes.
So you're still being paid by Bravo. You've not been fired from the show. I felt that this was a ploy for ratings. I have felt from the beginning, and I have not told you this, because it doesn't make sense. I think if this is a case of revenge porn and there's an investigation, and I hope that there was, why are you still being paid?
So here's the thing. That's another lie. I was never under suspicion for revenge porn. I never, ever, from the network, their miles exactly, you were never under investigation for revenge porn. That is something someone put on their Instagram along with law to point a finger at me for something that was completely a false narrative.
So why aren't you on the show?
I'm not on the show because we started filming, and this is a pivotal season for Real Housewives, and they had a lot of new girls, and as you said before, I was one of the few that survived, and we were really excited to get the season started, and some of the new girls, as in the past, they come on and they're trying to make a name for themselves, especially when they're not really showing up.
But that's a part of the franchise,
That's a
right?
part of
no
the
one
franchise.
wants to see a boring Housewives episode.
Exactly.
And so some of the things that come on, people are keeping it spicy for a reason.
Yes.
Okay.
But when you go too far, and that's what happened, we were having a filming, and things took like a really dark turn. And toward me, there was a young lady who was new, and she just was poking the bear. And everybody knows, the saying that I made up, don't come for me unless I send for you. It to the point of tearing off mics, anything, I respond. So during this taping, the young lady escalated it to the point of tearing off mics, screaming all kind of obscenities at me, and threatening me. I felt threatened.
So let me pause here because I have to be fair to this person, Brittany Eady. She has nothing on her Instagram about this. I've never met her. I don't know.
It's been deleted.
There's nothing on her Instagram about this.
Yes.
We reached out. She did not respond to her. And I actually don't want to litigate her actions because I do believe people don't get to respond to pick how you respond.
They do not get to choose how you respond.
But you have to be accountable for how you respond.
100%.
So whatever, which I have no tape of, I don't know what happened. You've explained to the audience that there was some escalation and some things that went on there. But going to your reaction to it, so you're alleging this thing happened between you, the two of us. You think her behavior or alleged behavior was because she wanted to make a name for herself on the show. Okay, I don't know any of that.
Right.
Take me to the salon, because I'm all proud because you have a new salon.
Take me to you, Kenya Moore. Take me to you and what you did and how that was wrong. Let's start there.
You're opening this new business,
Yes.
and no one is talking about you opening their business. They are reports that you had.
It overshadowed it.
You overshadowed it.
Yes.
This is what happened. They are saying you had these pictures of her.
Yes. Okay, let me tell you what happened. So from that night where all of this stuff happened and there were threats in my direction, and I felt very concerned. I told the producers, I'm concerned, I'm scared, and I kind of feel like they said, oh, we'll take care of it. And it didn't feel like it was taken care of. They actually made me feel like I was being like a black Karen. Like, here Kenya goes again. Nothing really happened. They were joking or something. I don't take threats or the way that I felt. You can't invalidate my feelings. And it was a real concern for me. I'm a single mom with a beautiful child that if anything happened to me, no one would be there for her.
So you felt threatened by some actions that happened?
Yes, and she repeatedly said, or it was said, that you don't know who I am. So I didn't feel like I was being protected, and I took matters into my own hands.
What did you do?
I did my research on her. I found a lot of information, especially in the explicit world, with a few clicks, with people helping me. I didn't get things sent to me, photos or videos that I did see, allegedly that were her. And I said, okay, if no one else is going to step up for me and protect me, I'm going to protect myself, and I'm going to tell everyone what I found out about her.
But how is that protecting yourself? See how that doesn't make sense? That doesn't make sense. Kenya Moore, that doesn't make sense. How is you posting or printing poster-sized images of revenge porn of this young woman, this young lady, as you say, right? And say it is an act of self-defense? You're antagonizing. If you're so scared, I'm so afraid, I am a single mother. Girl, you've been a single mom. What are we talking about, Kenya Moore? You've been a single mom even while you were, she still is married, like I said. But earlier on in her marriage, when things weren't bad, you've been a single mom. So what are we talking about? I cannot. So I had to take matters taking matters into your own hand. Taking matters into your own hand would have been, I'm going to seek authority outside of this network, because as she said, Kenya Moore just said, the network, Bravo, did not support her, did not do what they said they were going to do in investigating this and having my back, yada, yada, yada. Okay, bet. Call 911. Yeah. Call Atlanta authorities. Call them.
Receipt. And before I joined Housewives of any franchise, 5 years in, we made up the term receipts, right?
Yeah.
If you find dirt on someone or somebody is messing with you, you come back with what? A receipt. Right. I found a valid receipt found on the internet.
So you knew that Bravo was recording your
Yes, it was
salon.
during a taping. Everyone signed waivers. It was during a taping. I didn't stand out on the corner, posting anything. It was during a taping. And we know, even with nudity that has happened on the show, they blur things out. So at the end of the day, I knew that they would likely blur it out because whatever it was that I found, they didn't like the receipt. It was explicit. And they didn't like, I found a lot, but I only showed one.
You only showed one. Oh, thank you. Thank you for being gracious, Kenya Moore. Thank you for being gracious. You only showed one. How kind of you. Girl, it's delusional. She's cuckoo. She's absolutely nuts.
Okay, so at the salon, you have these images up that you say you found on your own.
I pulled them out at some point.
So they were up. At some point, you pulled them out.
That was one part of it, yes.
But they're up.
Yes.
Okay. And
they were
so
shown.
you assumed that they would be blurred out when this aired.
Of course they would. They can't show
because
nudity.
they can't show this.
Yes.
Were you building a moment? I mean, I know you said the other person was trying to make a name for themselves, allegedly. Mm-hmm. Were you trying to have a Kenya moment doing this and it backfired?
I don't think that it's a Kenya moment. I live my truth. You've
but
seen
you're
me
the shade assassin.
I'm the shade assassin, but my moment is my life.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't need to create a moment. Right. There's a difference.
Which surprised me because I know, again, we have a lot of people and friends in common, and I know how TV works. I know how to produce a show, produce this show.
Yes.
I was surprised by the level of aggression in this because that didn't seem like you.
Listen, in hindsight is always 50-50. And if I could do it all over again, I believe the photos were very distasteful, and I elevated the situation. I've elevated situations before,
so
and I've taken full accountability for the things that I've done. I am sorry for what I've done. I didn't have to take it that far. But when I felt threatened, I've never had.
It's the but. It's the but for me. She could have just ended it right there. She didn't even need to start off that whole introduction of I am the moment and oh, she was coming for me. I felt threatened. And then finally give an apology, but then say a but. I felt threatened. Girl, I don't know if Tamron, I don't think she did. I remember watching this before, but feeling threatened does not lead to you releasing revenge porn on someone. That doesn't make sense. That's actually, if you truly felt threatened, you would have hid your ass, right? You would have stocked up on some weaponry, right? You would have stocked up. Releasing revenge, that's just ridiculous. She's ridiculous. So anyway, Kenya Moore is no longer on the show. She's suspended indefinitely. I don't know if she'll return for another season. We'll see. But she's a mess. She's a mess. I don't think she has a case to sue Bravo. I don't think so, because at this point she better be lucky Brittany Eady did not decide to sue her. So anyway, let's move on. Let us move on. Up next, we have here Keke and Jonathan Majors. Apparently, Keke Palmer is preparing to interview Jonathan Majors. And I'm going to check right now. Is it already out? Keke Palmer, Jonathan Majors. She's preparing to interview him on her podcast. Okay, it's not out yet. At least the video's not out. She's getting dragged for this. She is getting dragged for this. Why? Because people believe that he is an aggressor. Not even believe. I mean, he's admitted it in the audio recording that I shared with you guys in the previous episode of this podcast. I want to circle back to that real quick because I know I said Mega Good, you better run, girl. I still think she could run. She could run. I don't know what their relationship really is. I was on board with them initially, but I just feel like Jonathan Majors, he has tainted his appearance for me. I used to love him back in the day when he was uh, an undercover actor, like when he was a down low actor, not to be specific with that definition, but no one knew him before, and he was great at what he did. He was it felt like he was really about the art. There was no scandal surrounding him. There was nothing. And for him to now have this tainted image, it really is unfortunate, and it has made me look at him in a dishonorable way, honestly, cuz and not even on the physical abusive front, cuz I saw the videos, and if I'm following what the video is showing, it appears that he is running away from the woman, right? He's running away from her. And ultimately, what I could say is it was seemingly a toxic relationship. I don't think the toxicity is one sided. I don't think he is the primary aggressor in that relationship or was the primary aggressor in that relationship. I think it was a both sided situation. So they needed to break up, and it's unfortunate that it ended the way that it did. But nonetheless, in that audio recording I shared, he says, yeah, I was the aggressor, right? But after doing some more research, what he's referring to is him holding her back from her hitting him holding her back from her trying to attack him physically yet again. So he had to restrain her, and upon restraining her, she hit her head or she got nudged or something. But to paint this picture that he is this woman beater, that he is this terror, this nightmare of a man, I don't buy it. I really don't buy it. Now he has his new movie out called Magazine Dreams. I don't know if I want to watch it. I don't like watching steroid buffed men or even women. I just find it so disturbing. Like, why? But that's what the movie's about. He is a bodybuilder who's aspiring to be famous and successful, but apparently he also is navigating life with a disability. I think it's autism or autism, Asperger's. I think Asperger's is no longer a term used. But nonetheless, he is still trying to be successful with this disability. So he's on this media run tour, and he's of course trying to repaint this image. And Keke Palmer decided to have him on as a guest on her show. Keke Palmer is known to, I don't know, like there's some history of her being this apologist for abusers. Yet what's ironic about that is I remember back in the day she had an interview on the Breakfast Club in which she shared a quite harassing, borderline abusive moment that she experienced from Trey Songz at his home. And she felt very uncomfortable, and she was trying to tell her story, but at the time no one was listening to her. And eventually later on, we hear more reports of Trey Songz being this abuser, allegedly. So as to this, Keke Palmer is being dragged because again she's appearing as if she is supporting this behavior and she is being this apologist. But I want to circle back to what Keke Palmer her sentiments about R. Kelly. Yes, R. Kelly. Let's do it.
I'm here with one of my favorite people in the world, okay? And he's playing the most amazing new track. Are they ready for this new shit?
I say? Yeah, who is that? R. Kelly. This is R. Kelly. And Kiki is where? On his lap. You know he was probably flirting, not even probably. You know he was flirting, rubbing her down, allegedly, but this is what I think. So we just see examples of her being like, fuck the abusive shit. I want to get a record. Fuck the abusive shit. I want to get an interview.
I'm a biter.
Like, I'm a biter?
That's just how we keep it. And I don't let her drive the whip. I just let her keep it. BLT, Shawty got them waterfalls. That thing be so wet. I don't dive in and I kind of.
So I'm just let that play in the background real quick. You know, we just see Kiki being Kiki. I mean, this is who she. Yo, it's just funny to me because you see a lot of women risk it all, whether that's for Usher, whether that's for R. Kelly, Trey Songz, Jonathan Majors. I mean, they risk it all. So here we have an example of a woman who is risking it all in this video back then. So this was a few years ago, as we know, because R. Kelly is now incarcerated. But again, she's getting backlash for this. It is what it is. Stand on business. You want to interview Jonathan Majors? Interview that nigga. What's up? What's up with it? That's fine. I don't give a damn. All right, now let's get to our last topic. Last topic, child. Garcelle. Oh, man, this woman. I don't know what to say about her. At first, I was disappointed that she is no longer going to be on the show, that she decided to quit. She released a statement a few days ago. She's been on the show for 5 years now, and I can't say that her impact was strong. But the reason why I say I was initially disappointed was I felt like I felt like, okay, maybe the next episode she's gonna give us more. Maybe like I had hope for her. That's what it was. I had hope for her. I rooted for you. We all rooted for you. How dare you? That's how I felt about Garcelle. But I think this is for the best for her. I think it's for the best for her and for the show ultimately because she is not cut out for this show. She's not cut out for the show. And it's actually quite cringe and painful to watch. You know how sometimes you have so much confidence to talk shit behind someone's back, and when you're in front of them, you say nothing? That's Garcelle. She talks so much crap in the confessionals. She talks so much crap maybe just with Sutton, but she is a confessional gangster. She gives it up in the confessional. But when it comes down to really having that energy, if you're not going to have the energy at the dinner table or with the girls all together, at the very least, rile up that energy, conjure up that energy, and serve it on the reunion. And that is what she did not do. She did not do that. She failed miserably, and it was painful to watch. It was absolutely painful to watch. I don't know what else needs to be said, honestly. You know, and I think I'm trying to shoot her bail because I feel like it's the Haitian in her. She is Haitian born, Haitian bred. And not to say there aren't Haitian women who aren't about it, but there are some who are conditioned to act the way that Garcelle acts. She's very demure, very mindful. She doesn't cuss you down. She's not going to do that. And I think it's because there's this pressure to um, be a good example for your family. Now, I know her mother passed. I don't think she ever talked about her father. So I don't know if she has a relationship with him, knew him, or if he's even around. But we do see brief moments with her sister coming on the show, but that's about it. So when Erica Jane said to her, "Well, I wish you had a more interesting life," yeah, it was a shitty thing to say, but she wasn't wrong. She wasn't wrong. And I think that is what is the issue here. Garcelle talks a lot about how she used to date Eddie Murphy. She went on a date with Will Smith and all this like, oh, I used to, oh, I went on many years ago, yada yada yada. Okay, I don't want to talk about your heyday anymore, Garcelle. We know, we get it. You was on the Jimmy Fox show, you was this model, got it. Cool. What are you doing now? Who are you fucking now? Make that exciting. And she's Garcelle's trying to say, oh well, I have no I give everything up. I say everything that's going on in my life. Okay, well, add something on to it. Go on a date. Make that an intentional thing. But I think she's just so maybe afraid to show that side of her on TV. I think there's something to it. Something is off here with her. She talks about her kids, right? Her oldest son, he's now a model. She's doing great professional work. She was on The Real for some time. And now she has this contract with Lifetime. She did that movie, well, that show, The Other Black Girl on Hulu. That was a great one. But okay, cool. We get all this other, like, we have a little bit of the family, we have some professional, and her impact on the show was basically, how can I get Kyle to tell us more information about her lesbian relationship? How can I uh call Dorit out? Right? So she had a role in that sense, but still she gave nothing. She gave nothing. And I wish she would have been more entertaining at the very least. Or if she just stood 10 toes down, like, okay, like, have that energy too. Because if I go back to Giselle, I mean, Giselle, I give her a bail though from Potomac. Giselle went on dates. She has had a brief situationship on the show. She's brought guys on the show and said, well, remember that young guy, Jason, talking about, yeah, we're dating. Like, ma'am, he is 28 and you're 48. What are we talking about? But she at least had those storylines. Garcelle has not brought any man onto the show. She has not brought any date onto the show. So, and Garcelle, this woman right here next to you, she's not your friend. And it's actually disappointing. I was convinced that they were friends. I was convinced that, well, I know Garcelle was a friend to her, but I was convinced that Sutton felt the same for Garcelle. Sutton did not speak up for her at all. Sutton did not have her back at any moment. Sutton sat there quiet. If I was Garcelle, I would have cussed her dog shit right out. Just in that order, dog shit right out. This is your friend? Anyway, I don't know what else to say about this. This is very disappointing of Garcelle, but I think it's for the best for her to not be on the show anymore. I'm not a Bowles fan necessarily. I think first of all, that wig is pissing me off. Let's start there. And that's not a dig. You could always change your hair. And that's not even her hair. Like, you could just replace it with something better. So I want to understand, why do a lot of African women, if we're going to talk, let's talk. If we're going to talk, let's talk. Why do, oh my gosh, did I put the mic on? Oh, thank God I did. Why do African women, because I think she's from Ghana, They have that hair. They have that wig. Like, why is it just like, I'm not saying you have to get lace. I'm not, but you could find something better. And for her to be as accomplished as she is, why why? Why can't you get a better hairdo? But hey, whatever. We'll see. But I'm not a fan of her. I feel like she comes off like white appeasing. Like she'll do anything to appease white faces and whiteness. She wants to be close to whiteness. Now, granted, she's the only other black girl on the show. Well, she's now the only black girl on the show now that Garcelle is gone. But I don't think Bose is really a kinfolk. And I'm not even big on like identity politics, stuff like that. But I think Bose, something about her I don't really trust. But we'll see. We'll see next season. I'm looking forward to the part 2 of this season, and I'll probably come back with another brief review on a podcast episode for that. But yeah, Garcelle, you are not cut up for this show. The time when you could have brought it, you didn't. And it's been 5 years. I think every year, like I said, I was waiting. I'm like, I have hope. She's gonna get it. She's gonna get it. She's gonna rash these bitches down. Like even when they were laughing at her son after Erica Jane yelled at him, Garcelle was still mindful and demure. Girl, what? If you're gonna be mindful and demure, Phaedra from Real Housewives of Atlanta. I'm doing all these housewives correlation, cross references. Phaedra has a way of being mindful and demure and still cussing your dog head ass out. She has a way of still shading you and making you feel like crap. Garcelle needs to learn how to read a bitch. All right, y'all. Goodbye. Make sure you subscribe, leave a review, tell a friend to tell a friend, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.